Can you name a song or two that has helped you through a rough time or that you feel defines you as a person?
I could name a bunch of songs that do exactly that all the time.
Young Homie by Chris Renee.
Over by Drake.
Thank You by Led Zeppelin.
By Green Day, it's Wake Me Up When September Ends.
Piano Man by Billy Joe.
Beautiful by Eminem.
By Shania Twain, Forever and For Always.
Time in a Bottle by Jim Croce.
It's Good Life by One Republic.
Blurry by Puddle of Mud.
Afraid by Eminem. Strong on My Own by Christina Aguilera.
Baby Be Mine by Michael Jackson. And Album by Michael Jackson.
Weightless by All Time Low.
Dance With My Father by Luther Vandross.
I Don't Care by 3 Days Grace.
Let It Be by the Beatles.
100 Years by Five for Fighting.
More to This Life by Stephen Curtis Chapman.
Thunder Road by Bruce Springsteen.
The Way I Am by Eminem.
One Moment in Time by Whitney Houston.
Imagine by John Lennon.
I listen to a lot of music that it's more definitive of like time periods, you know, like circumstantial stuff or, you know, seasons, so to speak, of my life. But some big songs that I think have always helped me. Bob Marley songs. Bob Marley's my favorite musician, and one song I really like by him is it's called "Push On Through." It's not really one of his better known songs, but it's just about, you know, dealing with tough times and getting through them. You know.
Hi, my name's Khadijah, and one of my favorite songs is Strong on My Own by Christina Aguilera. It's just everything it says. I'll be strong on my own, I'll see through the rain, I'll find my way. It's like a song that no matter what you're going through, it inspires you to like be strong and get over the obstacles that are in front of you.
My favorite song would probably be, I forgot the name. It's by All Time Low. Oh yeah, it's called Weightless. This song, it just really speaks out to me, and you know, it lets me know that, yeah, you know, it doesn't have to be that hard.
There's a song by a band called Death, and it's a song called Voice of the Soul. It's an instrumental song, and that song has stayed with me consistently since 2001. I still listen to it, and I still get chills every time I listen to it. It focuses my attention on what I need to achieve, and it's just timeless to me because it represents a time when I was so empty of hope and motivation, but every time I listen to it, I remember, it's like, no, things are better now, and things are going to keep getting better.
I can remember a lot of times where I'm like sitting on my bed completely breaking down, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, and not knowing what I really like. Am I going to get out of bed? Am I going to stay there? What am I going to do? And I could put on that song, and just the lyrics alone will like show you can be strong and powerful without having anyone to really help you with it.
Music is a big part of my life. It helps me when I'm feeling anxiety or depression, and it helps me cope with those things. If I was to think of two songs that have helped me through hard times, I would think of the song Pat Benatar sang, "Hit Me With Your Best Shot," and The Who's "Who Are You?" Those songs have helped me. These songs help and define me by making me want to be better, be a better person and a better human being. And if the sun refused to shine, I would still be loving you. When mountains crumble to the sea, there would still be you and me.
It makes me feel good that I have this thing that I'm pretty all right at, you know? People who don't have that thing that they're pretty all right at, they're constantly searching for that thing that they're pretty all right at. And they're always looking for it, and they try to find it in like drugs, or they try to find it in violence, you know? They try to find it in really bad things a lot of times, or really, you know, things that aren't productive, you know, things that are harmful.
if you know what the rest of the world is listening to, you can talk to anybody.
Like, my fondest memories of my dad are of him sitting out in the backyard, you know, after mowing the lawn, and we had a record player on the back porch, and he would play Elvis and the Beach Boys and the Ventures, and so there was that going on. And my grandfather loved show tunes of any kind, and so if we went to his house, he would play on the piano. So there was a lot of music equating with family, and also with the family that maybe it was a little difficult to connect with otherwise because it was men and they weren't as emotional. So the way that you could have a conversation would be, you know, through connecting over the songs that you liked.
My mom always told me that my grandfather, I never met the guy, he died before my mom got married when she was like 17. But when he died, the song they played in the church, which is weird for a Catholic church, but anyway, they played Cat Stevens' Morning Has Broken.
Yeah?
And she always, after that point, she always, every time in her life, when things were really difficult, she always heard that song. And what was weird about it is, when I was in college, my sophomore year of college was just, you know, when I started using the wheelchair. And I was pretty dejected about it. I mean, but I had to move to a dorm that was more wheelchair accessible. We'd put the radio on when we were moving all my stuff in. And all of a sudden it came on the radio. My mom was right there. So Cat Stevens was...
My dad heard me and he says, okay, we're going to listen to this now. And it's Iron Maiden. You know, and 13 to 15, you know, those are the years I didn't think much of it. I just thought, oh, I'm doing something with my dad. And then when he passed away, when I got diagnosed with schizophrenia, the music was literally all the only memories I had of him. Every day I get better, hoping that one day I can play with my dad again, you know, just to show him how far I've gone along.
A song that always gets me out of the dumps is "You Are My Sunshine, My Only Sunshine." And I used to sing it to my kids when they were crying in the back of the car, and a lot of times that got me over a lot of rough patches. Relationship that I've built with my outside of my family and outside of in my world is through the radio and through the music that I listen to on a regular basis.
I don't really have a song so much as just a genre of music. When I was really little, my grandmother would play this weird Scottish bagpipe album on repeat all the time, and I still have that CD, and when I think of it, I think of all the good times I had with my grandmother, and it really helps.
You know, my kids are 13 and 16 now, and when they were younger, you know, we spent so much time together. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I homeschooled for a couple of years with them, and it never occurred to me that our relationship was going to change, and they were going to get to a point where maybe they didn't want to spend every waking moment with me. It's a good way for us to start a conversation, and if I know, you know, he can come home from school and I will see, you know, an expression that says to me, oh, something happened. But at this point, I can't say to him, what happened? Tell me what happened. Because he'll be like, no, Mom, I've got it covered. You need to back off. But if we're sitting around and there's some music and he's put on the music and we're talking about how much we like a certain song, then he's much more likely to then say to me, well, this thing happened, it was bothering me, I'm over it now.
My friend Jimmy, the moment I met him, and I started playing my guitar in front of him, you know, he knew exactly what I was playing. He called it, he's like, oh, I know that song, The Trooper. I think that friendship me and him have is based off of it grew out of this mutual love for music. And we're both in similar, we both had similar situations growing up. Our fathers passed away, and music was there to save us, you know? There are people where I see them listening to music and I can see in their eyes, they're not here. They're somewhere else. They're somewhere better, you know? And you can't you can't tell it if you haven't. It's not easy to perceive, but when you see someone and they hear that song, though, that song, that special song of theirs, you can see it in their eyes, and they're somewhere else.
A song that really helped me through rocky points in my life would have to be "You Are the Sunshine of My Life." Not so much for the words, but just the way the tune went. When I was down, it always made me feel better. And it came from a disabled gentleman, so it always picked me up. I use music as a coping instrument almost on a daily basis, even in my childhood. I came from an abusive alcoholic family, and I'd go to my grandfather's and he played harmonica. So I learned how to play harmonica. And I'd go off by myself and just play and kind of remove myself from the situation.
I connect all the time with music. It's been my savior, my safe place, especially as a child. It's my escape. When I need to feel safe or feel like I'm being heard, I'll sing to the top of my lungs.
I will be strong on my own. I will see through the rain. I will find my way. I will keep on traveling this road till I finally reach my dreams, till I'm living and I'm breathing my destiny. I write a lot. I write a lot of songs. I don't think they really go anywhere, but I definitely use music a lot because I feel for every emotion there's a song that describes it.
I would definitely say Blurry by Puddle of Mud. That's one of the first lines that come to my head. When I have a rough time, I always loved driving through the country, and that song would always be playing. And everything was so blurry that maybe at that point in my life, whatever I was going through, things weren't really in the perspective that I needed them to be in, and that things were blurry for me. And I think just the mellow beat of it, and just the sound of it in general, still a song to this day that I love and gets me.
Some days I just don't know how I'll go on without music. I listen to it every morning, every afternoon, all day long while I'm at work. It helps me smooth my day out. I have a song that helped me through the rough times, and it's called Dance With My Father by Luther Vandross. It was the type of song that, my dad used to dance with me and let me stand on his feet. And it's just the music, the lyrics, everything. The song was just how my dad treated me when I was a child, and then he passed away. So it became my favorite song.
The first song I guess I would use that I use as a coping skill for the stressful times in my life is One Moment in Time by Whitney Houston. There's a line in One Moment in Time that talks about give me one moment in time when I'm more than I thought I could be. That when all of my dreams are a heartbeat away and the answers are all up to me. Give me one moment in time when I'm racing with destiny. I think for everybody who's ever had a diagnosis and been told they can't recover, there comes that point when they're dealing with the fear of success, or they're beginning to come out of the system, or they're finding their voice and finding their place in recovery, and they're racing with that destiny to get out.
When I was in the hospital, I had an experience where one of the units was allowed to listen to music, and my unit was not. And they're always trying to advocate for, letting kids use their coping skills and stuff. But to me, listening to music was a big coping skill at that time, and they were refraining me from using it. So I'd like to see that change, because I think that it would be a lot better for everyone. They'd feel more at home, and they'd feel a lot better.
On a regular basis, I use music all the time as a coping skill to help me with my depression and my moods, like when I'm upset or anything. I always listen to music to make me feel better when I'm sad or when I'm mad. Like, it always helps me calm me down.
A song that has helped me with a rough point in my life was I Don't Care by 3 Days Grace, because it really touched on some of the things I was going through during that time. My uncle had been arrested and I was going through a dark point in my life, and he wasn't my favorite person, so I Don't Care really spoke to me about how I felt about him. I started learning to play guitar when my uncle went to prison as a way to cope with my feelings, and I was really depressed and I was in my house a lot and didn't really have anything to do. So I picked up the guitar and I taught myself how to play.
Music to me is non-judgmental, a trustworthy friend, and it'll be here long after you are gone and my world's about to end. So sing for me and give me a reason to carry on, because when I have no reason to survive, I can listen to a song to keep me alive until the cycle begins again. It has helped me through times that has spoke to me in ways that people cannot necessarily speak to me through sometimes. And it's very, it's non-judgmental and it's just there. It helps a lot. So when I'm feeling upset, I tend to blast my iPod because it helps me forget about what's going on.
I don't really have time to just sit by myself and cry, so that's my way of, my outlet for emotion is definitely, wailing with music, and you don't even need to literally wail with it, but just to, just feel the music.
Music is the music in the language of the soul. Music speaks from the soul when the soul can't. Music puts word to feeling when you just can't find the words. So that's what draws music in. That's why I use it as an instrument. I'm always dancing, singing, doing something.
Music can do a lot of things for a lot of people, and to me it's like medicine, there's medicine for every ill, there's music for every ill.
Ooh, I don't know. I'd probably still be in my bed crying right now.
Without music, I'd probably be set back a lot because music is a big part of my life.
Probably dead. Probably dead since I'm a kid and a trauma survivor of child abuse. Since I'm a kid. It's always been there. It's been the one friend I've always had. I cuddle up with it like it's a long lost friend. And that's how I use it.
To be honest, I don't know where I would be. Music is one of the things that I do all the time, just listen to it. I love listening to the radio, just everything.
Without music, I think I would definitely have a much harder time expressing myself, being able to kind of get across how I'm feeling and being able to get out emotions. So I think I'd have a lot more pent-up emotions and a lot more chaos in other areas of my life without having a musical outlet.
Without it, it would just be a big hole, and it has really, music has lifted me spiritually and mentally and keeps me physically sound.
Without music, I'd probably have worse anger, and it'd probably be harder to cope with my depression.
Right, without music, I don't even know how I can function without it.
I'd be dead. Music is my life. Without music, I would not be the person I am. I would be lifeless, like a zombie.
Without music, I probably wouldn't be the same cheery little girl.
Where would you be without music?
Nowhere.
I honestly don't know. I think I'd be either dead or in jail, to be honest.
Without music, I don't think the world would be able to exist the way it does, because music influences everything, from art to even math and science. So I can't even possibly imagine a world without music.
I don't know if the world would exist or be the same as it is. If human beings would be the same, because I just think something within us. Just the flowing of our blood, the expansion and contraction of our lungs. It's just musical. There's something musical about people.
Well, I use music as a coping instrument. I use music as a coping instrument. Oh, hi. Anyway, by the way, my name is Stefan McCray.
Feel defines you as a person.
I could name a bunch of songs that do exactly that all the time.
Damn, that's not funny. We can't.
Can I tattoo any of you who follow on the floor for her pick song on the radio? Sing along, cause it's what we know. It's a smile, it's a kiss, it's a sip of wine, it's summertime.
If you don't care to think and don't think to care, you'll end up cold, alone, and nowhere.
I gotta hug you. I know. Whatever. Such a good guy.
Okay. Does my hair look good?
Yes.
Sorry. Go. Imagine by John Lennon.